Welcome to Melt. I'm Suresh Venkat. Last month, oral care brand Colgate launched a new campaign to promote the habit of nighttime brushing. Called The Sweet Truth, the campaign is the next step in the brand's commitment to driving change and promoting oral health practices. To know more, we're in conversation with Gunjit Jain, Executive Vice President of Marketing at Colgate-Palmolive India. How will the campaign be activated? How does it help build the brand? And what are the next big growth opportunities in the oral healthcare market? Let's find out as we get ready to melt with Gunjit Jain. Gunjit, welcome to Melt. Now let's begin with the company's new campaign, The Sweet Truth. Now we noticed that this commercial has a bunch of people who are brushing their teeth with various kinds of foods, including sugary foods at night before going to sleep.
Yeah.
We also noticed this in an urban setting. So are you saying the big insight is that urban Indians don't brush their teeth at night before going to bed?
So firstly, Suresh, thanks a ton for having me over. Thank you, Melt, for having me over here as well. Keen observation, smart observation that, what we are showing in this campaign is, yes, urban Indians from across the country brushing their teeth at night with sugar and in urban settings. Now, let me break this up a bit with a couple of points. The first overall Indian human truth that we figured out is that millions of Indians, the last thing that they put on their teeth is sugar and not toothpaste. And what this leads to is cavities. The other truth is that 9 out of 10 Indians do have cavities. So what we wanted to do as a brand, which has the purpose of helping people improve their oral health and beauty, is to embark on this mission to make people realize that if in addition to brushing their teeth in the morning, they also brush their teeth at night, the chances of having cavities can reduce by a whopping 50%. And that's exactly where this campaign is coming from. That 100% Indians brush their teeth with toothpaste in the morning, but 80% of them do not brush their teeth with toothpaste at night, and we want to encourage them to.
Okay, that's quite a surprising insight, that 80% don't brush their teeth at night. I thought it's pretty much a habit with everybody in India. Okay, the second thing we notice is that this is a 60-second commercial. One school of thought says, believe in the era of short form content, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 5 seconds, Instagram videos. Explain the decision to go with a 60-second narrative script.
Interesting again. So fundamentally, Suresh, what I believe is that what people want to watch is good quality content. Now, on the one side, we say that people's attention spans are dropping. That's why shorter content is needed. But at the other hand, there is also this huge behavior of binge watching. So fundamentally, what people want is good quality content. Now, coming back to our campaign, a couple of points from my side. The first one is that, yes, we do have a 60-second commercial, but I would like to believe that, it's engaging, it's culturally rooted, so it is essentially good quality content. But secondly, the entire campaign is not just restricted to this one particular asset. It's a full-blown campaign that goes across platforms, from TV on the one side, but also to digital influencer content, experiential content, so on and so forth. So you will see plethora of assets, long and short, dynamic and static.
Okay. And is this kind of content and advertising aimed only at urban consumers, or do rural consumers also, do they get impacted by this?
So like I said, 100% of urban Indians brush in the morning, but 80% of them do not do that at night. So our prime target audience is urban Indians. Can it impact rural Indians as well? Yes, because 45% of rural Indians also brush once a day. So we would like to encourage them to brush at night as well. But in rural India, the bigger opportunity is the other 55% of rural Indians who have a toothpaste at home, but they brush not daily, but occasionally. So in urban India, the top opportunity is to encourage people to brush 2 times a day. Whereas in rural India, the bigger opportunity is the 55% of consumers to encourage them to brush daily and not just occasionally.
I imagine that Colgate is pretty synonymous with toothpaste in many parts of India. And in many rural India, if you see a film about rural India, you'll see a Colgate toothpaste in the corner.
Yes.
As a synonym for toothpaste itself. You've said that penetration is not enough. You want consumption. How do you drive rural consumption?
I've come back to India after almost a decade, and the biggest surprise for me was that, hey, penetration has reached universal levels of almost 100%. It wasn't that the last time I was there in this country. So that's absolutely amazing and something for us to be proud of, because not many categories can boast of it, of being available in every household of the country. But then, like you just said, that the gap is that people don't brush enough. In rural India, 55% of the people are brushing, like I said, occasionally. So how do we encourage them to do that? It's a behavior change. It requires a long drawn plan. And that's why we will have to, connect with them on multiple fronts. First is we have a flagship program which is called Bright Smiles, Bright Futures, titled BSBF. We've had that in this country for over 3 decades. Through it, we've connected with more than 170 million kids so far, and we continue to invest behind it because it is through kids that we try to drive the right oral care habits, including brushing not just daily, but also brushing twice a day. The second leg to this entire piece is government partnerships. For example, earlier this year, we've tied up with the Honorable Government of Andhra Pradesh under a project which is called Project Chirunavu, which gives us access to more than 4 million kids across 45,000 schools of the state. And again, the objective is to drive the right oral care habits. And third leg is going to be specific campaigns. Like the Sweet Truth for urban India, we will be coming up very soon with stuff that will impact rural India as well.
Tell us a little bit about the rural consumer's purchase journey. Is it very different from the urban consumer?
So from a consumer journey standpoint, typically toothpaste in this country is something that people come to a traditional trade outlet and ask for. And rural India is still primarily traditional trade outlets. So the journey would be that, hey, I'm aware of a brand, which primarily ends up being Colgate since it's synonymous with the category. And then people come and ask for it. And that's how the purchase is fulfilled. In urban India, where modern retail is much more penetrated now, e-commerce is much more penetrated now because it reaches out to more than 15,000 pin codes now, the purchase journey has become much more experiential and at the same time much more complicated as well. Because it's not just about what you remember at home. You can discover a lot of stuff online. You can discover a lot of stuff in the stores. But it also opens up a lot of opportunities for us to just go beyond the basics, but also, give people the experience and the option of buying higher order benefits beyond just basic cleaning.
Tell us a little bit about experiential, the role of experiential in all this, because toothpaste is a highly experiential product and category.
Experiential marketing eventually works the best and is done well when it is contextual and is also personal. Now, for example, coming back to our campaign, if you go out and purchase sweets, and if along with that comes a message which says, enjoy your sweets this Diwali, but also don't forget to brush at night, that message is going to be much more impactful. So experiential marketing is key for us. We need to ensure that it is not just contextual, but also personal. And as part of this campaign, you will see a flurry of activities around that. So hold on to that.
You advocate a 4-pronged digital strategy, Gunjit, including something called, and I'm quoting you, longitudinal data analytics studies. It sounds like a fancy piece of jargon. Tell us a little bit about this 4-pronged approach that you have.
Coming to longitudinal, piece of information, the key point is we look at data which is not just short term but long term, and we've been in this country for more than 8 decades. So we've got a lot of information, and over the last couple of decades we've collected much more. And therefore, we are being able to, run a lot of analytics, which can not only tell us what has happened in the past from a regression perspective, but also help us predict what can happen in the future. So I'll give you, a couple of examples where this is helping us out. We've got a lot of data with respect to what stores that we directly reach out to purchase from us. And we reach out to 1.7 million outlets directly. Based on this information, we are being able to train our AI/ML system, and then it is able to predict to us what should be the right assortment for each and every store. So from running a particular assortment for a large chunk of stores, now we've moved to 1.7 million assortments for 1.7 million stores. And because we are being able to do that, we've been able to widen our assortment, have the right assortment, improve our distribution, which we can also measure as TDPs or total distribution points, and help us drive growth. So that is one example of long-term data being fed to make an algorithm learn and then help us predict the right outcomes. Another example of this is something that we do for modern trade outlets on what should be the right planogram on the shelf. Not only stitch everything together, recognize all the patterns, and then tell us what our performance on the shelf is, but also again predict what the right performance should be. So the next step on that one, for example, is going to be not having one planogram in 15,000 stores, but 15,000 planograms in 15,000 stores.
Okay.
So these are a couple of examples that we are, using this long-term data for.
So what happens to this famous marketer's instinct with so much data and so much analysis and so much granular decision making? What happens to your instinct, for instance, about branding?
Interesting question again, and I've thought about this quite a bit, Suresh. After much deliberation, the conclusion that I've reached is that just like we've got so many other sources of data and information, our gut or instinct is another source of data or information. And I was talking about AI right now, so let me connect it to that. Our gut, for example, or instinct is nothing but our naturally developed AI within our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
How does AI work? AI is trained on a set of data, and then when asked, it comes to a prediction without explaining to us how it got to that prediction.
True.
That is exactly the case with gut. It is trained on experiences, and then when asked for a prediction, it gives us a prediction without explaining to us how it is getting to that prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are absolutely fine in today's world taking AI as an additional piece of data or information before we take a decision, we have to be perfectly fine with taking our gut or instinct as that additional piece of information as well. And that's how I use it.
Explain to us about oral health and beauty. What are the challenges in building that end of the market? Brush twice, go to a dentist. Every parent tells every kid this that I've heard of. Why is this still such a challenge?
I think there are three parts to it, Suresh. One is awareness. Second is attitude, and only then will come behavior. Yes, many people will be aware of the concept of brushing 2 times a day. Many people are aware of the concept that, yeah, I should be visiting a dentist.
But we go only in a crisis?
But we go only in a crisis, and that is because it comes to the next stage, which is attitude. That do I feel it's important enough?
Mm-hmm.
And I think people do not yet feel that it is important enough. For example, 9 out of 10 Indians have cavities. I started our chat with that. Only 1 out of 10 Indians realize that they do.
That's shocking, isn't it?
It is shocking. And therefore, our task is to help people realize that they have a cavity well before it reaches a painful outcome where it either leads to tooth pain or a root canal or even extraction. And that is the task that, as market leaders, we have to take on, and we have to help do that. Again, it will require patience and persistence because it is attitude and behavior change. So we'll have to keep at it for decades.
Tell us a little bit about brick and mortar strategy.
In India, brick and mortar will continue to be important because we've got 1.4 billion individuals, and that is why we are reliant on, getting distribution far and wide. And Colgate has the widest distribution in this category. I said, 1.8 million we directly cover, and 4.7 million we cover indirectly. So brick and mortar, our strategy is to be available in the right stores with the right assortment and replenish that at the right frequency. And that is where not only are we dependent on our direct sales representatives now who go there and make those sales calls, but also equip them with the right technology so that we can do that job much better, which is where I spoke about our AI/ML tool that we've developed internally.
Another focus area of Colgate seems to be premiumization, am I right? You have a whole slew of premium products, Colgate Total or the electric toothbrush, I imagine, mouthwash.
Yes.
All of these are premium products. How do you assess the demand, and what exactly is the demand for these premium categories in Colgate?
What has happened is that oral care as a category has been relatively slow to premiumization as compared to other like-to-like comparable personal care and home care.
Is that true only of
categories.
India, or does it happen in other countries as well?
In India, that is there for sure. The reason for that is not because the need for higher order benefits does not exist. It does.
Mm-hmm.
What is required is superior products that genuinely deliver against those needs, and also adequate level of investment from the market leader to create relevance for those products in the lives of the consumers. And I think that is where the biggest unlock is going to happen. The time is absolutely right. People have the disposable income. The awareness is going up. And if the market leader is going to step up the accelerator on investing behind it, it is likely to happen. And there are 3 fronts where we will do this more than the others. First is going to be Colgate Total for proactive health seekers. Second is going to be Colgate Visible White for beauty and grooming seekers. And the third is going to be Colgate PerioGuard for gum sufferers.
I noticed we're sitting in a room called the Innovation Room in the Colgate-Palmolive office. Tell us about innovation in toothpaste itself or in tooth care itself.
The format of toothpaste has been there for a while. The formulations have not. The formulations have evolved, and in fact, Colgate-Palmolive across the world is the highest spender behind R&D on oral care. No other competitor comes anywhere close. So we have been improving our formulations with the technological advancement that's been happening, and at the same time bringing it to people at the right price points that they can afford. Let me give you an example. Our flagship brand is called Colgate Strong Teeth. Now, Colgate Strong Teeth is the first really branded mass toothpaste that came into this country, and it is still used by 67% of Indian households, almost a billion people. Now, it is one of the most affordable toothpaste that is available in the country. But has the formulation remained the same for decades? Absolutely not.
It just seems the same to us as a consumer.
We have to ensure that people don't get alienated by something that they've been using for a very, very long time. But at the same time, it is our responsibility to give them what they truly need for their oral health, and therefore the best technology there. So for example, on Colgate Strong Teeth, we now have a patented technology which includes an ingredient called arginine, which gives you 2 times stronger teeth as compared to a regular fluoride toothpaste. Now, we could have charged a premium for a superior technology, but we still price it at an economy price point simply because we want everybody to benefit out of our technology. So have the formulations remained the same? Absolutely not.
Another trend we've seen is the rise of herbal, natural, charcoal, salt, various kinds of qualifiers to toothpaste. What is Colgate's play in all these areas?
See, again, fundamentally, people buy into benefits is what we strongly believe. And whether it is naturals or science or anything else, those are reasons to believe in the benefit. So we want to deliver benefits, whether those are benefits around cleaning or other higher order benefits, and the way to get there could be different. Colgate's strength is the superior science that we have, and we will deliver those benefits through the superior science that we have, and that's what we've done for years, and that's what we'll continue to do in the future.
So Gunjit, is innovation driven by marketing at Colgate? You spot a need in the market and go back to the scientific team or the research team and say, guys, develop a product for this need? Or does the scientific team say, here's a brand new product, arginine, let's find out how we can market this? Which way does innovation flow?
Essentially, the marketing team is at the fulcrum of our entire commercial process, including innovation. It's the marketing team's responsibility to spot the gaps and spot the insights, then work with cross-commercial teams to be able to create the right products that are needed, and then create go-to-market plans to go there. So the marketing team is absolutely at the center. However, to get the innovation process to be much more effective and efficient, we've carved out separate short-term, medium-term, and long-term innovation teams across the world, which include not only marketers, but representatives and experts from cross-functional teams, so that they are also part of the entire journey that the marketers are taking from understanding people to delivering benefits to those people. Because fundamentally, at the end of the day, it has to start with people first, and not with, hey, I've got a great technology, now let me find a need for it. So it starts with people, ends with people.
Okay. Do you keep track of competition in the D2C space? I ask this because we see a small number of D2C brands in the oral care segment, from toothbrushes to electric devices to water flossers to I've seen tooth powders, shining powders. Right? I understand these are much smaller brands. Do you keep track of them?
So D2C is definitely one platform that is becoming a part of the overall omnichannel experience, and we have to be aware of it. And I'm not sure if you know, but we are invested in a company called the Bombay Shaving Company. It started off as a D2C company actually, and continues to have a strong business over there. And therefore, we are actively learning about this space. 2 fundamental learnings that I have so far. The first is, of course, D2C gives us the ability to have a much more controlled experience for consumers, and also have much more control over the data that we collect. But the more important learning is that people buy from a D2C platform only if the products and services being provided go above and beyond what is available in the other retail environments.
Okay, that's an important insight.
And if not, they might buy the same product or service, but from another retail environment, because that is where they will find many other things that they need as part of their basket. So we have to be very, very conscious of that, we are not creating completely new shopping behaviors, but we are present where people want to come and purchase what they want to purchase.
You've spent a lot of time in markets outside of India, Gunjit. What has been your experience in those markets that you're bringing back to India?
A couple of things that I will say on this front. One about, consumers, and second about the talent.
Mm-hmm.
For the consumers, what I've observed is that, unlike other markets, in India, there is not one consumer. There are many Indias within India. There are many consumer segments there.
You say every 100 kilometers it's a different country?
Absolutely. And, any consumer segment that we can think of will be there in India. So the most important thing for us in India as marketers is to be aware of what our strategy is, where do we have a right to win, and therefore go after the consumer segments based on these two decisions. Now, coming to talent, in India, we have the unique power of two things that come together, which is ambition and aptitude. This powerful combination I have not seen anywhere else. And that's what makes me the most excited when I come back and I feel privileged to be working with Indian talent again.
Gunjit, final question for you. Who's your competition? Is it other brands or is it bad habits?
Our competition is definitely bad habits. And in fact, I wouldn't say that as a competition. I would just say that, yeah, that's what there is. And rather than fighting that, we have to encourage people to move towards what will benefit them. Sometimes, we try and fight things that are already, people are habituated towards, and that makes the line even harder.
Mm-hmm.
People dig their heels even more when when we question existing beliefs.
Yeah.
People dig their heel even more. It's much more fruitful to encourage people and motivate them to go to something better. So our eye is what the future is, what's better, rather than just getting stuck with the past.
Okay. All right, Gunjit, thank you very much for talking to us at Melt. It's been a pleasure.
Lovely. Thanks for having me over.
And with that, it's a wrap on this episode. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. If you'd like to follow me, I'm @suvenk on X, formerly known as Twitter. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.